let's be honest. I'm going to put him in the Ivan Koloff class. They have completely ignored him for the last 20 plus years. I don't know what it is.
Right.
It's the same thing with Dominic, that he could sit a half seat away from Dominic and ignore him. Pedro Morales in their Hall of Fame was there in the mid 80s, whether he was, backstage or he was doing Spanish commentating. He was always kind of in the mix, but then just all of a sudden was gone and written out of history. But then, they're saddened to hear of his passing. Too little, too late, in my point of view.
I couldn't agree more. It's we've had this talk ad nauseum about the Hall of Fame and all the rest of it, and to me, I stand by what I've always said. I could not fathom accepting an invitation to something that I really never had a part of in the company, and yet for the guys like Dominic and Pedro and Ivan and so many others from that generation that were the generation that inspired me and guys of my generation to go into the industry. No thanks. It ain't that alluring to me. It just isn't. But to guys like that, I remember talking to Ivan and how hopeful he was, how excited he was at the prospect of being in the Hall of Fame. And I guess as you get older and you realize time is shorter, that might become an important aspect. But, to see how many of those guys have been overlooked, ignored, denied, and God only knows what the reasoning would be, right? I mean, it's, you stole my parking spot 40 years ago, and now I'm going to really hold it against you, that kind of craziness. But that really is the only thing that I can put on it, because especially with Ivan, I had spoken to Bruno, I had spoken to Dominic, I had spoken to everybody I knew from that generation that was there at that time, and asked them, "Do you know of any reason? Is there some? Did Ivan do something to Junior that would so piss him off that for nearly 4 decades he'd hold it against him?" And all of them told me the same thing, Dominic included. They're unaware of anything, any issues that went on between them. So, it's just one of those things that, like you said with Pedro, they inducted him to the Hall of Fame, and, he did some announcing, and then all of a sudden he was persona non grata there. And, you have to, at least I'm just a curious person by nature. I want to know why. Vince doesn't seem to be shy on camera. He seems to like to hear himself talking. So if that's the case, then please come out and tell all of us, guys who grew up and watch these guys, explain to us why you wouldn't at least acknowledge Dominic at Bruno's funeral, why you wouldn't invite Pedro Morales back from Monday Night Raw or WrestleMania, why you wouldn't admit someone like Ivan Koloff, and with all of his accomplishments, to the Hall of Fame. That'd be a video I'd pay to see from WWE. I would pay to see that one, because I'd be very curious to find out the reasoning to why. I mean, unless you're shy. Vince looks like he could be a sort of shy type of guy, right? When it comes to truth, I guess. The truth has a way of making a lot of people shy, right? Maybe I don't want to talk about this right now, so we'll just move on to the next subject. But I guess when you're a billionaire and you can control the narrative, you can decide the things you'll talk about and not talk about. But I'm going to take a stab in the dark here and show you how prescient I am. I've got the ESP for the future. I bet when XFL launches next year, Vince is willing to go on camera and talk about a whole lot of things. I bet at WrestleMania this couple months from now, he's going to do the same type of thing. Probably in a few Monday Night Raws between now and then, he might get on camera and talk. But for some reason, there are certain things that he doesn't like to talk about. For you fans out there listening, you run into Vinnie Mac someplace, ask him. Have your camera ready so you can get it. You might have you might be able to get something on tape, on video that's pretty valuable, because there are people like me that are dying to know the reasoning as to why Vince McMahon has this hard on for so many guys from that generation that created the industry, that gave the platform to WrestleMania. Just ask him.